Okay, so today we're going to dive into something pretty cool. DeepSeek R1 Lite.
Oh, yeah.
Have you heard about this?
I have heard of it, yeah. It's
This is a new AI model, and it's made by a company. Get this, it's a Chinese company.
interesting.
Yeah, DeepSeek.
Mm-hmm.
And what makes this AI so fascinating is not just its problem-solving abilities. It can figure things out, but it can also explain how it's thinking as it's going through the problem.
It's amazing. It's like we've always talked about AI as this black box, right? Like stuff goes in and something comes out.
Magic.
Magic, yeah.
But we don't really know how it gets there. And this is different. This is like getting a peek behind the curtain.
Yeah. And I think that's what makes this so significant, right? Because as AI gets more powerful, it's also really important that we understand how it's arriving at its conclusion.
Right.
Because these things are going to be making decisions that impact our lives, and so we need to be able to trust them.
Right, and know why it made that decision.
Exactly.
Not just, it decided this because it's magic.
Right, exactly. So, I mean, are we talking like, is it like full sentences? Is it,
Well, it's interesting. I'm glad you brought that up because that's really one of the coolest things about it. It's scoring crazy high on these tests, the AMEA math exams. Have you ever heard of those?
I have. Yeah, they're like, seen some example questions.
Oh my God.
I think I would feel miserable.
They are not for the faint of heart, I'll tell you that.
No.
But they're designed to assess like high-level math skills and logical reasoning. So that's something that humans struggle with. And for an AI to be able to do this so well.
Right.
I mean, that's kind of a big deal.
Yeah, yeah. That's huge.
Yeah, so trying to remember back to my geometry proofs.
Oh, yeah.
If only I had this AI to blame, I would use that as my excuse.
Totally. That's what I'm going to start using from now on. Anytime I can't solve a problem, I'll just blame the AI.
Yeah, and AI could have solved that, so moving on.
I'm not even going to try.
Exactly. Exactly. But it's not just about like the impressive scores or whatever. It's about understanding how it gets to those answers.
Yes.
And this is where deep think mode comes in.
Okay.
So this is available through DeepSeek Chat, which is kind of their platform, their user interface. And it's basically like, imagine you're working on a tough coding problem, right?
Mm-hmm.
And instead of it just giving you the code solution, it walks you through every single step that it took to get there. It's like it breaks down the problem, it considers all the different ways it could solve it, and then it explains why it chose a particular solution.
So you're like learning along the way as it's solving it?
Exactly.
So you can
It's like an AI tutor that's not only like solving the problem for you, but teaching you how to approach it so you can do it yourself next time.
Right. And I think, that's got to be applicable to so many different fields, not just coding.
Oh, absolutely.
I mean, think about like any kind of problem.
Learning in general, it'd be incredible.
Yeah. So it's really about, like you said, it's not just the, being able to solve the problem, but it's also the transparency that comes along with it.
Exactly. And that's a big buzzword right now is transparency in AI. Because as AI becomes more powerful, we're using it in more and more things. And, everything from self-driving cars to helping doctors diagnose diseases, personalized learning. You have to be able to trust it. You have to understand how it came to its conclusions.
Yeah.
And the deep think mode kind of starts to bridge that gap. It lets you see the reasoning, and you can either agree with it or disagree with it, but you at least understand what's happening.
Right. You can evaluate it based on, kind of like a logical framework.
Right.
Instead of just taking it on faith.
Exactly. And DeepSeek is taking this a step further. Now get this. They're planning to open source the entire R1 series models and the APIs that go along with it.
Wow.
So what that means is developers, researchers, anybody can potentially access this technology and build upon it.
That's amazing.
Yeah, and it's particularly interesting, I think, because they're a Chinese company.
Right.
And, we typically think of open source as being more of a Western thing,
right.
Coming from the U.S. and Europe and stuff.
Yeah.
But for a Chinese company to do this is kind of a big deal.
Yeah, and it's really interesting. It could really change the way we develop and use AI.
Absolutely.
I mean, think about, a lot of the advancements that we've seen have come from, maybe a handful of companies that have a lot of resources. And now you're opening it up to potentially, developers all over the world.
It's like this global collaborative effort to really push AI forward. And I think ultimately this will probably lead to better AI that benefits everyone,
Yeah, I think so. And I think, for listeners who are interested in this, I think it's worth, checking out DeepSeek Chat, trying out the deep think mode.
See what it's all about.
Yeah, I mean, it might not only change the way you think about AI, but it might change the way you think about problem solving.
That's a great point. It could change the way you think about how you approach problems in your own life.
Absolutely.
So yeah, definitely worth exploring, I think. It's a pretty cool development in the world of AI, and I, for one, am excited to see where it goes.
Yeah, me too. It's going to be fascinating to watch.
All right, well, that's our deep dive for today.
Yeah.
Thanks for listening.
Thanks for having me.
And we'll see you next time.
See ya.